Taylor batting seventh. Wells Gainey is the eighth hitter. As that one is deposited into left field, and Brady Richardson leading off with a single. So you've got a base runner aboard. Tabor Ofora coming to the plate. Taking a look at the defense for Huntsville, it is Jack Roop, who is on the hill behind the plate. Luke Sanji at first, Nigel Tatum. Second baseman is Riley Friend. The shortstop, Sean Lupinskis. At third, Dustin Zebrook. Outfield, Finn Steele in left. Skylar Jean in center, and Josh Knight is in right. Good-looking Thursday night underway. It hasn't been good-looking all day long. But there have been parts of the day that were good-looking, and right after the lightning and rain delays postponed us until about 5:30, it has been very nice. Tabor Ofora with a base runner, Richardson over at first. As your last game of the day gets underway. And that 90-minute delay for the lightning and the light rain, well, that's kind of what pushed us 90 minutes back on this one. Originally slated for a 7 o'clock start. Tabor Ofora, Hayes McCorkle to the on-deck circle. On the campus of Troy University. Troy, Alabama. The American Legion in its 100th year of existence in baseball. As out goes Ofora. And there is one away. And likewise, as I mentioned in the game prior, this spot has seen baseball for about 100 years. Now, this park hasn't been here for 100, but the baseball has in this vicinity. Hayes McCorkle followed by Jake Fryman. As that is swung on and missed by McCorkle. Earlier today, it was Shelby County starting off with a win over Daphne. Daphne led the ball game throughout until the bottom of the sixth, and that's when Shelby County scored 6 runs, took the lead, held on, and win it. Game number 2, Hackleburg with a big win over Tuscumbia, a game that ended a little early because of the mercy rule, and the same true with the Foley Leeds game. It was stopped early because of the mercy rule as well. Hayes McCorkle taking a pitch a little bit outside. What's it like on a Thursday night here in Troy, Alabama? Well, I'm glad you asked. I just happen to have the iPhone weather app nearby. 78 under mostly cloudy skies. Feels like 81. 11-mile visibility, 88% humidity. Southeast winds at 5, gusting to 12. Our current temperature is about 2 degrees cooler than it typically would be on a July 24th. One aboard, one away. A little bit outside with the pitch to McCorkle. And just in case you are interested, the next full moon in 16 days. And I guess you can't see the moon. It's 0 illuminated. As that is rolled to short, there's the 6, was supposed to be the 4, but dropped out of the hands of Riley Friend. So instead of a 6-4 and possibly a 3, it is an E4. And you got a couple of base runners on for Jake Fryman. Ethan Walls moving to the on-deck circle. And that is Jake Franklin, by the way, not Fryman. I'm not really sure how I got Fryman out of Franklin. I'm the one that transferred it from starting lineup to scorebook. If I could, I would pass the blame on to somebody else, but it's me. As that is knocked down and short by Lipinski's. Hops up, goes too high over to first. Richardson will come in, McCorkle to third. Franklin reached on a single, but advances on an error. And post 70 takes the lead. Ethan Walls to the plate. Couple of base runners in scoring position. Ethan Walls followed by Caden Boutwell. Well, you've got a mixture here in the top of the first. A couple of Troy hits and a couple of Huntsville errors. 1 run in and 2 runners on. On the outside part of the plate to Ethan Walls. Caden Boutwell to the on-deck circle. Swing and a miss by Walls. Taking a look at Troy's lineup, you've got Enterprise, Wicksburg, Providence, Rehoboth, Arrington, Opelika, Dothan, Rehoboth, Headland, Prattville, Florella, all represented. One ball, couple of strikes. Meanwhile, where Huntsville is concerned, Ardmore, Westminster, Lindsay Lane, Lee, Trussville, Buckhorn, Randolph, all part of the Huntsville lineup. Count runs full, 3-2 on Walls. Here's the payoff pitch, couple of base runners on. And 1 to the total. 3 now aboard after the walk of Ethan Walls. That'll be the first walk issued by Roop. It's all loaded up for Caden Boutwell with 1 away. That lone out was Tabor Afora, who struck out a little bit high, a little bit outside, with a pitch to Boutwell. Evan Taylor to the on-deck circle. That'll get into the dirt. Can McCorkle get him from third? There's your answer, yes. Franklin to third and Walls to second. And post 70 with a 2-zip lead. And a couple of runners in scoring position for Boutwell. So 2 runs played, 2 runners on, and again, hasn't been all about the hits. There have been 2, but there's been a walk, a couple of errors, and a wild pitch. Boutwell, the 6th to come to the plate in the top of the first. Outside with a pitch, it's loaded again with a walk of Boutwell. And that's got runners at first, second, and third. Coach coming out to have a conversation with Roop. Well, it's not a coach's greatest joy to come out and converse with this pitcher, but especially not in the first inning. But Roop, 6 at-bats into the game. Has the bases loaded, 2 on. Coach giving him just a little vote of confidence. And Roop will step back up onto the bump. Wells Gainey moving to the on-deck circle. On the outside part of the plate with the pitch to Taylor. Well, there's two of them. All it took was a visit from Coach. After Coach's visit, 2 into the zone, 0-2 on Taylor. Bases loaded with 1 away. Post 70 with a chance to blow it apart. 237. Trying to minimize the damage, and out goes Taylor. So 2 gone as Gainey comes to the plate. Brody Jones to the on-deck circle. That is the first non-strike from Roop since the visit from Coach. He put 3 in a row into the strike zone to Taylor. Count goes even at 1. Brody Jones moving to the on-deck circle. Top of the first, last game of the day, just underway. Tomorrow we'll do it all over again. A 4-game slate, but 3 of them here. And 1 of the 4 tomorrow takes place at Charles Henderson. And a little later start, a 2 p.m. start versus a 10 a.m. beginning. Here's the Gainey. The pitch from Roop to Gainey. And it's outside of the strike zone, and the count runs to 3-1. The 8th hitter to come to the plate in the top of the first for Troy post 70. And the count runs full. It has been a different looking Roop since just that walk from the dugout to the mound from Coach. Swing and a miss, and out goes Gainey. So I don't know when Coach had that magic potion, the conversation, but he visits, and Roop responds with 2 Ks in a row. 2 runs played, 3 stranded. We go to the bottom of the first.
Frustrated. She's having trouble with her defensive player. Look at this sweet pass behind the back for 2 on the assist.
And that one is hit on a rope to center field. Watch that one. And it is, oh, what a great diving catch by the center field.
And in that game, it was basically a running back by committee. I mean, you had a lot of guys carrying the football. Is that the protocol for the upcoming season for the backfield of Jackson State?
It's a really nice pitch to get the ground ball double play. Second one.
6-5 is your final. East Georgia advances to the championship game.
Bottom of the first gets underway. Skylar Jean starts it. Sean Lipinski is your 2 guy for Huntsville. Riley Friend hitting 3rd. Luke Sanji 4th. 5-hitter Josh Knight. Nigel Tatum in the 6th spot. Finn Steele batting 7th. Lane Jones 8th. Dustin Zeebrook 9th. And Jack Roop is the 10 guy. Meanwhile, for Troy, on the hill, Drew Collin. Behind the plate is Wells Gainey, the first baseman Ethan Walls. At second, Brody Jones. Shortstop is Brady Richardson. And at third, Evan Taylor. Got an outfield of Tabor Afora in left, Caden Boutwell in center. And the right fielder is Hayes McCorkle. That was a 91-mile-an-hour pitch from Drew Collin. Now, that TrackMan hasn't necessarily been working all night, nor have I been looking at the TrackMan all night, but that 91 is the fastest speed I have seen. As, by the way, we're joined by the commissioner of the American Legion Baseball, one of the American Legion Baseball commissioners. I'm assuming there are more.
There are. There's 3 of us. And a director, so there's a total of 4.
Now, is that 3 per state and a director per state?
Well, no, that's just the way we designed it here in Alabama at our department level. And so we have a north, central, and then southern divisions. That's how we broke down the state. But we also have a director, which is Alan Phillips, and he's here today, but he's working on some other things.
Well, you, as the commissioner, how did that come to be? I mean, was it a voted upon or appointed? Or?
Oh, it's one of those situations where you I ran into Alan Phillips, and who was the director at the time, and I just opened my mouth and said that I had a history of helping out with baseball. And
you're a commissioner.
And that was 10 years ago, and here I am. Every time I try to back out, I get pulled back in deeper. So.
Now, what are you, as this one is popped up by Lipinski's, in the direction of Ryan and calling for it as McCorkle, but by trade, what is your vocation?
I work in the legal community.
So it does give you the flexibility of being able to travel when needed for the American Legion.
It does, and it's also it also helps when I can bring in a mindset to some of the decisions we have to make and try to look at both sides and make a fair decision. And of course, we always put the players' interest first, but trying to make sure these young men get a good experience here with baseball. But there are some tough decisions we have to make about certain things and qualifications and whatnot of players. Just like before the game, we have to make sure that all the players are who they say they are, and they're on the roster and they're registered. Number 1, for insurance purposes, and also number 2, just to make sure that's the player that they have on the field. And that's what takes us so long sometimes on these first games.
And is lifted foul over towards right field by Friend. Did I hear you say there are 2 sides to the story? I mean, do you not know this is 2025? There's only one side to whatever story.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But to think we don't have incidents that occur that need a look at and a decision to be made. We do within American Legion. If anyone's ever done organized sports at all, there's always a controversy in every year. But for the most part, everybody does great and gets along. And we, like I said, we do this for the Americanism of American Legion baseball and the experience these young men get when they come out and play.
Well, and not necessarily the controversy, but really isn't it those unique things that pop up that make baseball such a unique sport? There are things that happen that you may never see again in 40 years.
No, correct. And I've been around it for 30 years myself, and so or longer. And you know, you always see situations that I've never had that before. How do we fix it? But anyhow, yes, it's that's why there's 3 of us and 4 with a director. So it makes things somewhat interesting in some of the decisions we make. And also we at a national level, we have rule changes all the time.
And is hopped over towards first, gets by Walls. Gene will come in to score, and Huntsville has cut the lead in half. So it has been an error-marred game early. Had 2 in the top part of the inning and now 1 in the bottom.
I'm going to tell you, Coach Bragg and Coach Hickson, Coach Bragg for Huntsville and Coach Hickson for Troy, they've played against each other for quite some time now, and this is a well anticipated matchup, and it's turning out to be so, as you can see here in the first inning. But these coaches were really excited to see each other in the first round, and I got to talk to them on the field before the game, and I'm excited for them as well and their players.
Big first round game between two communities that are growing rapidly, Troy and Huntsville. Huntsville, now the biggest city in Alabama. And I don't know where Troy ranks. I would guess about 5 or 6 in size. Definitely in the top 10 in Alabama.
Yeah. It is. It's a growing community from the urban sprawl coming out of Montgomery, and from Dothan, they're quite in the middle, and Troy is growing. But these programs have been around for quite some time too. Post 70 and post 237 have had teams for well over 10 years. I can tell you, before I started, they've been around.
First ever World Series championship, Yonkers, New York, as that one is lifted to center field, and Pocatello, Idaho, I think, in Philadelphia.
Correct.
Got a fly out by Sanji, and there's 2 gone. Josh Knight coming to the plate. I tell folks I'm a professional Googleologist. I have a degree in Googleology.
Well, that's good. You need to have all this knowledge.
I never said I had knowledge. Just my degree in Googleology that helps me along. Josh Knight taking a pitch high. Nigel Tatum to the on-deck circle. Now, were you a Troy alum, did you tell me?
I was. I graduated in 1993 from this fine institution here at Troy University.
You know what? We've been talking about the small world aspect. Where you and I are concerned, you might know a cousin of mine played football at Troy, was a nose guard, Matt Brunson, back in the, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s.
That's correct.
Josh Knight coming to the plate with Drew Collin getting a visit on the hill.
Yeah, Ross is trying to get him calmed down. He's having a rough start, and Ross is trying to get him calmed down, and we'll see. But Coach Bragg isn't going to let up. He told us before the game he's ready to go after the World Series champs and win this game. And so I'm very excited that this game is the nightcap game.
It is the marquee matchup. I know Ross Hickson was a Saint at one time, and I don't mean St. Lee, but an LBW Saint. He used to play for Steve Helms down in Andalusia. So if he's brought some Steve Helms onto the diamond, he's brought some old school baseball. On the inside part of the plate with the pitch tonight. 2 gone, 1 on, 2-1 ball game, bottom of the first. We'll play 7 unless somebody's got a really big lead after 5 that is fouled away. Of course, I don't anticipate somebody having a 10-run lead after 5 in this one.
I don't either. I don't either. Even these teams are ready to throw what they've got at each other, so we'll see.
Bottom and top of the order when you get to the second for Troy. Brody Jones will start it. He's the 9 spot. Brady Richardson and Tabor Afora will come to the plate as well. First day of 4 here in Troy. Strike 3 on the outside part of the plate, and Josh Knight goes down looking. 1 runner stranded, 1 runner in, and we've played 1 with a lead 1. Top of the second gets underway. Bottom of the order will start in Brody Jones, followed by Brady Richardson and Tabor Afora, as that one is swung on and missed by Jones. You know, going back to what we were talking about in the prior game, you and I, we didn't know each other. Didn't know, when you saw me and I saw you, hey.
Shook hands,
That's
introduced.
it.
Yeah.
Then we come to find out there are an awful lot of similarities. We're almost like brothers from a different mother, as you got a 6'3" put out of Jones. But you're a panhandle guy, I am, and we both married Florella, and I'm not going to call them women, Florella ladies.
Correct. Well, my wife is from a suburb of Florella.
That's right, Paxton.
Well, that's where she went to school, and she lives a little above Florella. But
now, what is the area she was actually, homesteaded in outside of Florella? It's not Lockhart.
No, it's north of that. Well, we call it Powellville because it's the Powell family estate.
Popped up.
And so.
Well, you better call it Powellville then.
Yes. And so, and your wife is from Florella.
She is from Florella.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, she lives at this moment 1 block away from where she was born.
Wow.
She's never been off the block.
Wow. So that's where you found her?
Yep, found her on the block.
That's great. Well, that Covington County women are great, wonderful women.
Indeed.
And
they must be similar, though, because we're both in a baseball park, and my wife, when she comes with me, the only time she comes to the park is to drop me off. And your wife's not here at the park either.
Oh, no. Absolutely. So.
But she's watching baseball, I'm sure.
She is watching baseball.
Yeah.
And relaxing.
Uh-huh. Watching what, MLB, Game of the Night, something like that?
Yes. JockLive.com.
Oh, really?
JockLive.com.
Okay.
That's exactly what she's watching.
All right. We appreciate that. But no, some fine ladies in such a small world that we indeed live in.
It is.
As that pitch is outside to a 4. And I texted my wife, said, do you know Julie Powell? And she said, yes. Is she there? And I said, no. And I did mention that you were here and she was in a hotel. And she said, that's where she should be. It's where I would be. But
there you go.
She did send her regards.
Yes. Wonderful.
Tabor Afora with a walk down to first. Hayes McCorkle coming to the plate. 1 away here. I think that 2 away. Got so sidetracked on our history that didn't realize there are 2 gone. The ground out of Jones and the fly out by Richardson.
We need to get back to this game.
I guess
great,
so.
Wonderful game. We're missing an awesome pitching match here.
And, the good thing about 2 good teams playing one another, typically you do get a good game. Kind of a high-tempo ball game, kind of a fast-paced one. And we're kind of getting that here. We've already got 2 outs with a runner on and Hayes McCorkle to the plate. McCorkle reached on an error and scored a run. Troy University, Troy, Alabama, a campus that has grown, I would say it is substantially larger even since you attended in the early 90s.
Oh, it is. It is. And the facilities are just wonderful.
I think it started as an NAIA school and then went to an NCAA D2.
Correct.
Now in D1. And I anticipate at some point they continuing to grow the D1s. It's kind of a mid-major
That's
D1.
Correct. That would be accurate. I think that's been classified as that, and as a group of 5, we're in the Sun Belt here at Troy, but University.
Jake Franklin to the on-deck circle. When you get to the bottom part of the inning, it'll be Tatum, Steele, and Jones. All 2 up.
And if anyone's listening and they really want to see this campus, which they need to, come on by. We got great baseball the rest of the weekend, just like we just saw here. A strikeout for strike 3.
And we go to the bottom of the second. Still a 2-1 Troy lead.
of Alabama Online, where legends log in. A tradition of excellence. Choose from over 100 affordable degree and certificate programs that fit your budget and schedule. Earn the same degree as you would on campus, with the same affordable tuition rate for every state. UA Online. Advance your career and change your life. Get started today at online.ua.edu.
Bottom of the second, Nigel Tatum to the plate, Finn Steele and Lane Jones.
It looks like Coach Bragg has some questions for Coach Hickson that he sent through the umpire.
What would this question be?
I have
lineup
no
related.
Idea. Lineup related, of course, yes. And if there's any substitutions, and so it looks like we are ready to go.
Nigel Tatum stepping in. Finn Steele, Lane Jones. 2 up in the inning as well. Bottom of the second. As the pitch got the inside part of the plate to Tatum. Well, if the game had gotten underway at 7 o'clock, would be near the end of this one. But as a good friend of mine once said, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, it would be Christmas every day. So it really doesn't matter what we encountered earlier. Here's where we are. And what we encountered, by the way, that delayed things was the lightning and the rain. Not a lot of either, but just enough to put things on hold.
And that earlier game was really destined to finish early, the game before this one. But Leeds came, put some points on the board to prevent the mercy rule.
That'll ricochet off the wall by Nigel Tatum in right field. Any other park that may have been out, there is a monster wall in right. And you've got to knock it about 40 feet in the air on the fly, 330 feet down the line to get it out of this park. Any other park, that's a round tripper. Nigel Tatum to the plate.
And that's very difficult in this park, too, with the humidity. Once you get up in that atmosphere, that humidity slows that ball down.
I think our scoreboard just went out. As that one is wrapped back to Colin. He'll go over to first and get the out of Steele on the 1-3. Tatum, meanwhile, moves to third.
Post 237 has a runner on third.
That is Tatum, 90 feet away from knotting the game up. Collins got good speed on the fastball, clipping above 90 at points. And it's popped high in the air in the direction of right field. McCorkle will field, tagging is Tatum. Throw coming to the plate. It's there, and out goes
what a
Nigel
throw.
Tatum.
That is a fantastic throw from right field to get the third out of the inning.
That is one of those dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-duns. What a way to end the bottom of the second with a throw from McCorkle from right. It guns down Tatum. And by the way, that's not shabby speed at third either. So he gunned a fast runner down at the plate as we put it into the second and go to the third.
Of LBW Community College is a homecoming for me. It's where I began writing my future and it's a blessing to come back and help students write theirs. OBW is home. I love how our campus has become a place for our community to come together. Families enjoying walks on campus to faculty investing in our students. There's a place for everyone at LBW. We try to ensure that every student has an opportunity to attend LBW and succeed no matter what career pathway they desire.
Top of the third gets underway. Jake Franklin will start it. Ethan Walls and Caden Boutwell due up in the inning, too.
I do want to let everyone know we're celebrating a 100-year anniversary of American Legion Baseball and had a little ceremony before the game if you weren't on board. And it's just appreciating what American Legion has done for the youth.
1925, the first year for American Legion. And like I mentioned in the game prior, man, if you look at American Legion Baseball on Wikipedia and you look at the Hall of Famers or the American Legion alumni, it is like reading
extensive.
a who's who in Major League Baseball. And that's even today's players. That's not players from years gone by.
Yesteryear. Yeah, it's throughout, and it's been consistent. And so I would encourage anyone to look it up and just go through that list, and it'll amaze you the players that have played American Legion Baseball, spent their summer playing ball.
Ground to second, runner is tagged out. Spin move to try to make the throw. Won't be able to make that throw, but the ball popped out after it was yanked out of the mitt by Friend. So the out counts on the unassisted put out at second. Walls over at first with one away. Well, and it would behoove people when American Legion is playing baseball nearby come out and see future stars. I mean, somebody from this weekend here in Troy is going to be either a big-time college baseball player or maybe an MLB guy.
Well, one of the latest players is Brooks Bryan, who actually plays for Troy University. He played on the post-70 team back in that 22 World Series, and he was drafted by the Kansas City Royals just a couple weeks ago.
So now is he going on to the Royals, or is he staying another year for the Trojans?
We're not sure yet. I think he has that option, and I haven't heard one way or another. But according to the rules with Major League Baseball, they have that option. So I can't speak as to if that decision's been made. But there was an American Legion baseball player that is in there, and there are several teams that had players that were in this year's Major League draft.
One away, one aboard. Caden Boutwell to the plate. That will get away from Sanji. Roll over to near the dugout, and off to second will go Walls. And he will get into scoring position for Caden Boutwell, who walked in the first. Got a feeling Skyler's going to do what's best for the player. He would love to keep that player for another year, but he definitely has the player's best interest at heart here at Troy. And what a great job he has done since coming here. I think he's in his third year now.
That's correct. He just finished the third year, yes.
I mentioned in a game earlier today, we were actually on campus doing an ALA BCA, I think it was an upper or underclassmen showcase event, when they dismissed the prior coach, as out goes Boutwell. So you kind of talk about an awkward day.
Absolutely.
He found out while we were there that he was no longer being retained for his services. But Skyler Meade coming in, and man, he has just built relationships with everybody.
Correct. And this wonderful facility here that we're able to, we appreciate them allowing us to host our state tournament here this year. As I mentioned earlier today in some of the earlier games, we've been at places like Pelham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa in recent years, and we try to move it around the state to give every location an opportunity and not have it at the same location. And we had all intentions of having it in Montgomery during the pandemic, and that didn't come to fruition.
Evan Taylor with 2 gone and a base runner on. And, of course, Montgomery would be the home of the Biscuits, where
exactly
he would have played over to first and dropped. Tatum trying to reach and get it before Taylor got there and couldn't. Runners at first and third. Minor League Baseball, by the way, has got the best mascot names. Major League Baseball could learn from minor league on team names.
Exactly.
Montgomery Biscuit, Lansing, Lug Nuts. There was somebody I heard recently. Oh, the Macon Bacon. Wells Gainey. A couple of base runners on at first and third. Gainey struck out in the first. Brody Jones to the on-deck circle. Zeebrook, Roop, and Jean. When you get to the bottom of the third. Outside with the pitch to Gainey. Count runs to 2-0. 1-run lead, top of the third. Post 70 and post 237. All right, let me ask a completely unrelated to baseball American Legion question. How did they come up with the post number?
I have no answer for that. I have no idea.
You're saying I'm going to have to put my Googleology degree
You're going to
use.
have to figure that out. I have no idea why the number. There are numbers all over the place. You got some that have 1 digit, 2 digits, 3 digits, and so I'm not sure how that's selected.
I was wondering if maybe they were the 70th installation or the 237th installation in the state.
And that is a question. Now that you've asked me, I'm going to find out before too long. But this tournament starts out with 8 teams, and we get down to a winner that will win that wins the Alabama Department baseball tournament, and they will go to Asheboro, North Carolina, because we're in Region 3. And that team will be there next weekend. So
Jones wrapping into the 6-3. So the winner here goes to North Carolina
North
next week.
Carolina. And then from there they will go to the World Series, which is in Shelby, North Carolina. And so previously I had mentioned that it was in South Carolina, and I had my locations wrong. It's Asheboro, North Carolina.
I just had your Carolinas mixed up.
Yeah, that's it. And so after that, they will, like I said, and then there will be 8 teams in that regional, and then there will be a winner out of the regional that will advance to the World Series. But anyhow, they will go from here after the probably Monday or Tuesday. They will get on a bus and go to Asheboro, North Carolina. So, like for instance, last year the post 70 team at the state tournament, a lot of those players did not come home for almost 3 weeks.
Wow.
They were consistently on the road, and then it starts those that are going to college. College classes have already started. They were missing several days of the first several days of college. So there's some sacrifices these players make, but it is well worth it when you go and win the World Series in Shelby, North Carolina, like Troy has done last year, the reigning champs in 2024. So I just wanted everyone out there to know that these players that are here playing are could possibly be on a 2-week to 3-week ride of making sure they keep themselves fit and healthy and ready to play baseball.
So is the World Series the week immediately following the regionals?
That's correct, yes.
Now, what if you run into rain in the regionals? that shoves you back, or is there enough of a?
They have to, but yes, there's enough. That is something that each of those sites have to take into account, and they have to make it. And like we talked about, some of these games go till late in the evening, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, midnight, and it's because you have to be ready to go. So we're back ready to start this half of the inning.
Bottom part of the third, Dustin Zebrook to start it off. Jack Roop and Skylar Jean 2 up in the inning 2. Troy has already left 7 on through 3 innings of baseball.
That is uncharacteristic of this team.
Left 3 on in the first and 3 on in the third. Dustin Zebrook and Jack Roop, the last 237 players to get their first at bat as the count goes to 1-2 on Zebrook. And then the top of the order, Skylar Jean coming to the plate. 90-mile-an-hour pitch fouled away consistently. Colin in that 89 to 91 on the fastball. Now at this age, 19, you have most of these players, if not all, already committed to a college or junior college?
In that age group, yes. But now keep in mind, some of these teams have they have younger boys that play up. So some of these have juniors and seniors that are in high school that are entering their junior year, senior year, and they are eligible to fill these rosters as well. So not every player is a graduated senior or a freshman in college, but most of those that are graduated and are already in a college. So yes, the ones that are graduated are committed if they're going to play after high school.
Well, and I think I should have known that. I believe Easton Walsh at Florella is going into his senior year, and he's playing with his post-70 squad. Of course, he's committed to LBW when he wraps up his high school career, which is where his brother plays now, Cody Walsh. 90-mile-an-hour pitch to Roop. And speaking
in
of
that
Florida,
last game, Foley had several players that were underclassmen in at the high school that were on their roster, and one of them had taken the mound, as we had mentioned. And once they got the big lead, they gave him some reps on the mound when they had that big lead against Leeds.
a little bit lower, the pitch to Roop coming in at 90 miles an hour. Skylar Jean moving to the on-deck circle. I was mentioning Florella. Let me go ahead and say kudos to Tyler Zesson, the head coach there. Man, he's had some very nice years at Florella, and I can think of 3 guys that have gone on or are going on collegiately. I mentioned the 2 Walsh brothers, and he's also got Dalton Jackson, who is signed with Coastal North, and I think will be there this year. As that's out of the strike zone to Roop.
And Coastal North is located in Monroeville?
It used to be. They've
Okay.
moved the baseball program now to Bruton, which used to be Coastal East. You know, it's getting a little confusing, but I think
just like all the Wallace campus.
There's
it
a
gets
lot
confusing
of Wallaces.
of where it is. So the Coastals are joining the Wallace confusion.
That's right. But when they collaborated, you know, it used to be Faulkner State, Jefferson Davis, and Alabama Southern. And they collaborated into Coastals. There was a north, south, and east. Well, now there's just a north and a south.
And the south's in Bay Minette.
Bruton. Yes, the south is in Bay Minette.
South is in Bay Minette,
You're
north
right.
is in Bruton.
Yep. And some of the programs
Well,
that were
actually,
in the north.
but geographically, that's not too far away from each other.
No, about an hour, roughly.
Yeah.
But the difference is that in coastal land, Coastal South is a D1 in the ACCC, and Coastal North is a D2. So they're really not competing with one another.
That would really be confusing.
Yeah. They were competing with each other for a while, but now they've made their complete transition to your D1 and your D2, and now they'll play each other, but not in a district capacity.
And that last pitch was 89 miles an hour. He's been consistently in the 80s and early 90s on this, and he got the strikeout on that last pitch.
Base runner on at first for Sean Lipinski. Riley Friend to the on-deck circle. Top of the order in the top of the fourth for Troy. It'll be Brady Richardson beginning it. And while we're talking about Coastal North, might as well say kudos to Keith Griffin. He has called it a coaching career. You know, Keith, he was at Northwest Florida State for a while. Matter of fact, the only Jeff Davis World Series, which is now Coastal North, World Series championship, he was the coach. But Keith Griffin has called it a career, has retired. Except for the collegiate league he coaches in New York, where it's nice and cool this time of year. So he's still going to do that, but is retired from JUCO. High and away with the pitch to Lipinskis.
And I'll tell you, in today's environment in the collegiate level, having the JUCO leagues is beneficial, especially in the game of baseball, with all of the NIL and the transfer portal, and to get a chance to really get in some of these Power 5 schools and to get a chance to show what you've got to spend your first 2 years and then transfer out. If not, you're gonna the coaches aren't even recruiting high school kids. They're just going to the junior colleges and to other schools and poaching players from there to with this NIL packages and with the transfer portal. So it is nice. Alabama has a great junior college system for baseball, and it gives these players an opportunity to continue on playing at that collegiate level.
Got a base runner aboard. That is Gene. By the way, I said it was Roop, but Roop was listed as the 10 guy, but he's a pitcher only, so did not hit. So it was Gene that started it with a walk, and then Lipinskis with a strikeout, Friend with a walk, and now Sanji at the plate with a couple of base runners on. And out will go Sanji, but I think, that is only 2, not 3.
I think everybody was wanting a strike on that pitch, and he called it a ball. And even the catcher thought it was a strike, even though he dropped it, and he called it a ball. And so we're back for this next pitch.
Well, even Sanji was walking away from the plate.
He wasn't sure what happened either.
Josh Knight to the on-deck circle. Got a couple of base runners on. And there is the strikeout that puts it into the inning.
Well, he stayed alive. He had that next opportunity, and that strike came in. And I would imagine it was an off-speed pitch because it came in at 78 miles an hour.
We are going to the fourth. It's still a 2-1 advantage. It belongs to Troy. Just about all white Jones County. Diving catch at shortstop. Gross. Towards the gap. Diving catch in center field by Ben Aklinski. There is a shot towards deep short. Kraft's got it. Long throw over, and he got it. Top of the fourth gets underway. Top of the order coming to the plate. Brady Richardson, Tamer Afora, and Hayes McCorkle. I'm not sure why we played the second or third inning, because the first inning is the inning with all the runs.
It is. I told you this is going to be a great pitcher's duel and a great game.
Indeed, you got Drew Collin on the hill for Troy and Jack Roop for Huntsville. Combined,
so far it hasn't disappointed.
Nope. Combined, they've given up a total of 3 hits and allowed 3 runs. Richardson 1 for 2 in the game. He has singled and popped out to second. Tamer Afora and Hayes McCorkle. Meanwhile, the bottom of the inning, Josh Knight, Nigel Tatum, and Finn Steele for Huntsville. By the way, we were talking about junior college baseball, as that one is lifted to the right side, all the way to the wall, and able to make the catch on the warning track is Josh Knight. Boy, hung with that one and able to make the catch and deny Richardson an extra base hit.
It almost looked like he lost it in the lights, but he was able to pull it in and make the catch right there on the warning track in right field.
But in junior college baseball, if you go to the World Series in Grand Junction and they hand out the program book, and in the back of the book, it's got all the MLBers that had played in that World Series. And it's kind of like the American Legion. It just reads like a who's who. And even in the state of Alabama, you've had folks like Craig Kimbrell.
Yes.
Gage Miller, who used to be at Bishop State, went to Alabama, now playing, I think, in the Rays organization. So a lot of success at the junior college level. Bryce Harper was a JUCO guy.
Yes.
Inside with a pitch to Afora. Played his baseball at Southern Nevada. Hayes McCorkle on deck as that one is sent over towards the roundabout. Afora with a strikeout and a walk. Struck out in the first, walked in the second. Hit over to second, able to slide and backhand his friend. Goes to first, throws it away.
He wasn't able to scoop that up for the out. And
so Afora is on. That's one of those that, I'm torn. Error or hit? How would you score it?
I would give him a hit on that.
All right.
He was there when we had the confusion of the ball, the first baseman and the player. And notably on that as well, in the collegiate level, they have the extended first base. I'm anticipating that American Legion may move to that in next year. This is a rule change year, because the federation, National Federation, which is the high school rules, has approved it. Now, I don't know what that means in the state of Alabama at the high school level. I do know that the federation approved it, and I don't know if it's going to be up to each state to determine whether they're going to have the extended first base like they do in the collegiate level we saw this year. But I'm anticipating this is going to be a topic of discussion in Indianapolis when we go to our conference for American Legion Baseball, if we are going to move to that extended base. And it also goes to safety, the collisions that occur on those bang-bang plays that happen there at first base, and ankles and knees and just I anticipate the American Legion moving in that direction. So if they don't, I'm wrong, but I have a feeling for the sake of safety, they're going to move into that direction.
How often does the rules committee meet?
Every 2 years, we revisit the rules and see if we need to change and change anything. And usually it's one or two topics, hot topics. And several years ago, it was the pitch counts, and then it was the number that each team can have as far as the schools. So the school, each high school that participates on an American Legion team, it's 7,500 male students. You can't exceed that. So where post 70 in Ross here in Troy, he's been very successful because there's a lot of smaller schools in the area, and he can bring and which have a lower attendance, and it's been a benefit for him where you wouldn't have that up and towards your more urban areas like Montgomery and Birmingham and even Huntsville, where you have to have a lesser amount of schools because of that number cannot exceed 7,500.
Got a walk and a single, a couple of base runners on. What about the earpiece in the catcher's ear?
I would assume that might be talked about as well. We will probably get our agenda sometime after the World Series is completed in Shelby, North Carolina. Will they send out some of the possible suggestions for rule changes? And that is a topic that has been discussed, I know, on some of the internet blogs among American Legion. Are we going to it? But right now it is not permitted. I do know the team that Troy played post 70 played 3 years ago, Idaho Falls. That coach is very vocal about wanting to use the earpiece in his program there in Idaho. So we'll see what they decide.
Now I assume that eventually on that list or on that agenda would be now the wristband. They've got the bands with the plays.
Oh, I'm sure that there's an array of different things, whether it's the wristband, the earpiece, the extended first base. So we've got a lot to talk about in Indianapolis in September.
Jake Franklin with a couple of base runners on. Has a pitch clock been discussed at all yet?
It has. First time it was brought up, it was shot down because one of the reasons why I'll tell you is, that the issue was the games, the length of the games. Well, it wasn't too long ago that American Legion was playing 9 innings, and we sized it back to 7. One of the reasons for that is ESPN.
6-3 put out. Franklin is gone while Afora moves to third and McCorkle goes to second. 2 away with Ethan Walls next.
ESPN picked up the World Series games, and they have a time slot that they want their games completed by, so they can move to the next and the next programming. And so they were very influential in moving us from a 9-inning game to a 7. Also, the pitch count helps as well. When you have 2 extra innings, your pitchers you have to increase the amount of pitches thrown, and that puts a strain on some of your pitchers.
About how much has that shortened the game going?
Oh, it has. It has. It's put
7?
it within that mostly in that 2-hour inning, and he let go of the bat.
And it nearly got his on-deck hitter, Caden Boutwell.
I'm so glad that on-deck batter was paying attention, because a lot of times they don't. But he was able to get out of the way.
I think Wall's going over to check on him or say, Coach, it's the bat, not me. Okay, give me a new bat.
And he did. He replaced his bat, and he's going to come do this again and see what'll happen on his 1-1 count.
Walls with a walk and ground out to second. He is 0 for 1 in the game. A couple of runners in scoring position. Troy trying to plate their first runs since the first inning and trying to avoid leaving more on. 7 left on currently, and there's 2 aboard as we speak. Caden Boutwell on deck. A little low with the pitch to Walls. I would assume topics that have not been brought up. Instant replay.
Absolutely. It has not been brought up.
Now, I assume at some point it will.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, yes.
A little bit inside with the pitch. I know minor league baseball has toyed with no umpire at the plate. Do you foresee that happening at this level?
That is no, I don't. I don't think that.
Not in our lifetime?
No, not in my lifetime. Exactly. That would be a very drastic change to American Legion baseball. And of course, we've been around 100 years, and then that would be one topic that will be shut down immediately. And with the group that we have in Indianapolis, so it will be quite some time before that's revisited.
Swing and a miss by Walls, and there's two more stranded. 9 now left on by Troy. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Knight, Tatum, and Steele coming up.
Of Alabama Online, where legends log in. A tradition of excellence. Choose from over 100 affordable degree and certificate programs that fit your budget and schedule. Earn the same degree as you would on campus, with the same affordable tuition rate for every state. UA Online. Advance your career and change your life. Get started today at online.ua.edu.
We head to the bottom of the fourth. Josh Knight starts it. Nigel Tatum and Finn Steele due up in the inning. In between innings, I snuck into the chat room on YouTube and see that Ian is watching from Australia. Thank you very much, Ian, for checking in. I wonder what time it is in Australia. It's probably sometime Friday, I would think.
It would be, yes. That's a long ways away.
So watching in Australia, we appreciate
We
that.
do appreciate it.
Josh Knight struck out looking in the first. Nigel Tatum and Finn Steele due up in the inning as well. You know, we mentioned all the changes to baseball, and then American Legion, of course, decides what they do or do not want to accept. Does American Legion, because they've got such a rich tradition and history in baseball, do they tend to lean towards, you know, keeping kind of that traditional, I hate to call it old school, but kind of the traditional baseball in place as long as possible?
Yes, that's a goal, but they try to be consistent with the Major League Baseball rules. But you know, a lot of these kids are now they're used to playing Federation, National Federation, and those that are going to college are playing collegiate rules, and so our rule book does say that we play Major League Baseball rules, so that they try to be consistent with Major League Baseball. We do have a few changes that we have that are not. And so, with that being said, to answer your question, yes.
Nigel Tatum had a double in the second. Finn Steele coming to the plate next. A little bit outside with the pitch to Tatum.
And so tomorrow we've got we will have 3 games here at Troy University and 1 at Charles Henderson. And then Saturday we will have 4 games here, and then we will have 2 games on Sunday. Actually, we will on Saturday we will have 1, 2, 3, 4. We may have 5 games, and there is another Troy post 70 strikeout.
That one of Tatum, and it's K number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the game for Colin.
I encourage those that are listening that are able to come, and maybe not those in Australia, but if you're closer by, to come by Troy University campus and come over to Pace Riddle Field and watch American Legion State Tournament. Again, we'll have games Friday, Saturday, and then we will have our final game on Sunday at 4. And so it's a great atmosphere.
Or even Australia. I mean, you know, if you catch a plane now, you could be here by
maybe
Saturday.
Well, yeah, you can be here by Saturday.
Yeah.
or at least by the final game on Sunday.
Yeah, you can see the championship.
So those of you that are quite a bit closer have that opportunity to come see us. And again, this is the 100th year anniversary, and it's we're going to have a ceremony for that on Sunday.
Richardson Fields goes to first, 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 4th.
You need a 4-year degree to make good money? Think again. Get training in your own backyard. Master electrical and mechanical skills, process controls, hydraulics and pneumatics, and land a job that can take you anywhere. Start your path to a career that pays. Discover electrical and instrumentation technology at Coastal Alabama Community. Top of the 5th gets underway with a new pitcher on the hill. That is Keaton Schroer. And he'll replace Jack Roop after Roop faced 23 in 4 innings of work. And in those 4 innings, struck out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gave up a total of 4 hits. Allowed a couple of runs. And he wound up walking 5. So there are your Roop numbers as Keaton Schroer steps in. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is Schroer. Caden Boutwell, Evan Taylor, Wells Gainey due up in the inning. I've talked to these coaches and asked them, please don't play players whose names I cannot pronounce, but you know, that falls on deaf ears. Boutwell giving a walk.
Well, Shower's trying to find that strike zone and ends up walking that first batter. But
Evan Taylor coming to the plate. He has struck out and reached on an error. And will slap this one in the direction of center field. And Gene just quite did not time the leap when he needed to. And that's going to get Boutwell in, and Taylor with an RBI triple at third. Our first run since the first inning. And Troy has pushed it back out to a 2-run lead. Looked like Gene got there, might have had a chance. It was going to be a difficult catch, but just leaped a little bit early. As that is fouled away by Gainey. A reminder, by the way, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't mind. It's not mandated, not required, requested. And it's simple. Just put the cursor over the subscribe button and click. Don't have to provide any background info, no credit card info. There's no background check. We don't need to know who your mom and daddy and next to kin is. Just click on the subscribe button.
We'd like, from the American Legion Department of Baseball, Alabama Department of American Legion Baseball, we would like to thank JockJive for hosting these games.
Well, man, we appreciate that. Gainey with a single that brings in Taylor.
All right, so Troy Post 70 getting a good start to this inning.
We have enjoyed. I'm trying to think if I've ever done an American Legion game before. I know I've done a little work with Ross Hickson, so that would have to be American Legion related.
It would, yeah. Unless it was one of his other leagues he participates. He has a fall league that he has players playing in, which is a benefit for American Legion.
Zebrook just couldn't decide how to play that. Either on the short hop, back up and field. And a little mishandling allows the base runner Brody Jones to get on over at first and send Gainey to second. And you got a couple of runners on for Brady Richardson as we get back to the top of the order. On the outside part of the plate to Richardson. Tabor Ofora.
Looks like he's finding that strike zone that he was missing earlier.
That was a 67-mile-an-hour pitch. This at 73, a little bit inside. And the count goes even at 1. Now, does your job as commissioner require trips also to the regionals and the World Series?
It doesn't require it, but we try to support the teams that come out of Alabama, and we have when on post 70s trail in the recent years we have followed them through those tournaments. But it again, as I mentioned before, it's a 2 and 3 week obligation, and we are volunteers as Legionnaires in this, and so we do have day jobs and have to make sure we have obligations with family and work and whatnot. So it's difficult. We try to do what we can to follow these teams because, like I said, they're leaving on Tuesday to head to those regional games.
Well, if your wife is like mine, yes, I would love to go. And then we get there and it's, go on to your little ballpark. And
exactly. So
I'll sit here and go online to Amazon or into the dirt with a pitch. And that will advance runners 90 feet. Gainey goes to third, Jones to second.
And I will say that I have had the opportunity and the great opportunity to follow Post 70 in their trips to Shelby, North Carolina in recent years, and it's been wonderful watching their success at that level. But they're having they're going to have a tough time in this tournament as they always do. Our Alabama State, the baseball tournament for the state of Alabama has become very competitive for even the best of teams.
Give me that key ingredient that keeps Post 70 consistently successful, because it does take a little bit of luck mixed in with skill and some breaks along the way. So is there something consistent in that dugout that contributes?
Well, it's Ross Hickson and his dedication, and prior to him, John Rushing, who built this program here at Post 70, and then Ross took it over around 4 years ago, and it's been and has done a great job in taking it to the next level. And so it's the dedication of those men that that has gotten this program built. And in years past, Tuscaloosa's had great post 34 had a great success, and so we had another run come across.
Turns it into a 6-1 lead. A couple of RBIs on a double by Richardson. And Richardson at second for Tabora.
And I will tell you, on the success of programs, it's a year-long process. You really start in November, December, start looking at schools, players, schedules, where you want to do with your program, and then also getting together with your local post, the host post, and seeing what their support and those Legionnaires really do love baseball, and I've seen the support all over the state. Baldwin County having Daphne and Foley and their programs, their posts down there have been very supportive. Post 555 up in Pelham is very, very supportive of their team, Post 70. And so you see these Legionnaires really are excited to see these young men play baseball.
Zebrook able to throw out a 4, but the throw back to third to get Richardson allows him to hop up and score. That'll be an E3 on Tatum. So out number 1 registered on a 4, but Richardson in, and all of a sudden a tight game, not so tight anymore.
No, Coach Bragg's got to tighten, like you said, he's got to tighten his players up and get them refocused on Troy's attack here in the 5th inning.
A little bit outside with a pitch to Hayes McCorkle, who has reached on an error, struck out, and walked. 0 for 2 in the game. Jake Franklin to the on-deck circle. And again, the bottom third of the order when you get to the bottom part of the field. Actually, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Lane Jones, Dustin Zebrook, and Skylar Jean. That could be problematic. Zebrook's got it. Nope, doesn't have it. That'll be an infield single for Hayes McCorkle. Troy had 4 hits coming into the inning, and they've had 4 hits in the inning. Got a runner in first for Jake Franklin. He is 2 for 3 in the game. McCorkle takes second without a throw.
That pitch got away from the catcher and allowed that McCorkle to get to second. Going back to your question about success of programs, one of the biggest obstacles we face in American Legion Baseball is the travel ball programs that are across the state. And we're trying to provide we at the American Legion are trying to provide a product that is comparable to that same product at a lesser price, and just throwing in that Americanism, that patriotism for these players, and that's our goal. And it has been a challenge over the years competing with these travel ball programs that have been popped up across the South for sure. There's some departments and states that they'll have 50 teams in their 19U division, where we're running about 12, mm-hmm. and states like Kansas and Washington State, and so we're trying to really encourage and go across the state and show the baseball community that we have a great product and we are comparable to the travel ball program. And please come, because it's more than just the baseball. It's the Americanism concept, and it's seeing these veterans come out and support these young men.
In Shelby, North Carolina, as that is ground to second, picked up by Friend, goes to first. Walls out on the 4-3. I'll ask the question when we return in the bottom of the 5th, when Jones, Zebrook, and Jean all come to the plate.
Baseball Coaches Association's annual First Pitch Dinner and Silent Auction raises money for the Miracle Leagues of Alabama. These leagues allow disabled children and adults to play the game of baseball on synthetic and turf fields. Besides helping subsidize players' uniform costs and league equipment costs, the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association is committed to getting more high school and college teams involved in volunteering in these leagues. Click on the donate button at alabca.org to help support this life-impacting mission.
Bottom of the fifth gets underway. Lane Jones starts, and Dustin Zeebrook and Skylar Jean due up in the inning. To the question I was going to ask prior to the break, the attendance at the World Series. I mean, what size venue is that?
Oh, in Shelby, North Carolina,
yeah.
it is a covered stadium that is maybe twice the size of Pace Riddle Field here, and it started over 15 years ago, where it's a high school stadium that they started out with, and that the town of Shelby has just embraced American Legion baseball and built this. I can't even tell you the actual number of seats in it, and I guess I need to look that up. But I've been twice, and seen that it holds quite a few people, and they will sell out. That
Wow.
final game sells out. And it is quite a venue, and the field and the playing surface is a natural, and it is a great. Unlike here at Pace Riddle, which is artificial turf, but it's a great playing surface. You get rains in Shelby, North Carolina in August, just like you get rains in Troy, Alabama, or even Birmingham, and so the field drains very well, so they don't have a lot of rain delays. And there was a strikeout for post 70.
And there's one away with Dustin Seabrook coming to the plate. Top of the order, Skylar Jean to the on-deck circle. Well, this is a 2,500-seat place. So if
I would say 5,000. It
Wow.
would probably that's about right.
Well, that is
But,
impressive to be able to sell out a 5,000-seat place
Absolutely.
for your championship. Now, how big is Shelby as far as population?
Oh, it is a very, very small, just quaint town.
Really?
Probably about the size of Floral, somewhere between Floral and Andalusia.
Wow.
I'd say it's halfway between the two. To give you a relation.
So the city practically doubles in size when the stadium
Absolutely.
is full.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, they wrap the whole city wraps around every one of these teams that come, and they give such a great, loving, warm feeling to all of these players, and that's what kept the American Legion coming back year after year, and it has built on itself each year to where it's become a major event for the city, of course, but such an event that ESPN is now covering the tournament.
Seabrook fouling it away, one away, nobody on. Bottom of the fifth after a 5-run top part of the inning for Troy post 70. I love those atmospheres, by the way. I'm going to have to go just for the atmosphere. I know in junior college baseball, Grand Junction is that way. In D2, Enid, Oklahoma is that way. They just kind of take the event as their little child and
as their project.
Yeah, they wean it.
And they're right now as we speak, I'm telling you, they are excited about these players showing up. They don't know which team's coming, but they're ready. They're excited. They're planning. These organizations in town, these churches, civic organizations, they are ready for these players to come, and they are planning right now their arrival, not knowing what teams are going to be there and from what part of the country.
Now, are the teams housed in host homes?
They're housed in hotels. No, they're in hotels, but the hosts' organizations or families just follow the team. They meet all of their needs. Sometimes there will be a need to go to the pharmacy and pick up some items for a certain player, and that host family will make it happen and show up. They feed the players. Like I think it was last year that Post 70 had the Baptist church there in town hosted them, and after every game they had a dinner on the grounds.
Wow.
And it was such I'm surprised the players didn't gain 12 pounds because the food was delightful. And to see the players walk into the room and these people light up and the players react and respond the same way, you just can't describe it. And it's such a wonderful experience for these young men and for that community. And they give back to what Americanism is all about.
Yep. Skylar Jean with a couple of walks. By the way, the metabolism is a little, faster at their age than it is ours. We would gain 12.
We would. And it's like having a Sunday dinner on the grounds every single meal.
Wow. Walk given to Jean. That's his third of the game. Sean Lipinskis coming to the plate. He also has walked and popped out. And Coach coming out to have a conversation with Colin. Colin has worked his way into the fifth. Has a couple of strikeouts, but a walk mixed in. And I don't think Colin's coming out of the game, just Coach going out to the bump to say, let's stay focused. We don't want to relinquish a run or two here, a run or two there, especially with two gone. Sean Lipinskis followed by Riley Friend. And the Collins strikeout total is now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the game. Conversation over. Lipinskis stepping in. Late night of baseball on a Thursday. And you can thank Mother Nature. Lightning and rain delay, postponing play for about 90 minutes. That's a base hit into left field. Sean will go to second. Only the second hit of the game for Huntsville. The other one came way back in the second.
I'll tell you, the rain that we had was we were very lucky that it didn't rain too much. However, one of our requirements as commissioner and as to host a state tournament is to have an artificial surface, because the drainage will allow us to play. That we've played in the past on natural surfaces, and you get a good downpour, a good dog day afternoon, as they would call it, and it would be we would be nixed for the rest of the evening, and sometimes even the next day.
Yep.
So, and that is very problematic when we have to get these games in. So this playing surface is artificial playing surface is a benefit to hosting the American Legion tournament, because of the time crunch that we have of trying to get all of these games in and declare a winner.
All right, now if we're in the fifth inning like we are now, and we've got 5 innings in, and then the bottom falls out, do you always play the next 2 innings, or are there situations where it would be called after 5?
That we try to get every game played to its fullest. And so that would be a decision that the coaches in the American Legion would make a decision of whether we're going to call it a game or not. But again, we like to wait as long as we can and get these 7 innings in, or get to the conclusion of a game, just because what's at stake here. It's very high stakes, because the winner from this actually goes on to the regionals in Asheboro, North Carolina.
Now, the cost where all these players absorb travel and lodging cost, do they have fundraisers to cover that cost?
Different teams do different they have different methods to fund these, and Post 70 got that third strikeout, or got the third out, strikeout.
And it was his third strike out in the inning, and
correct.
his 8th in the game as we head to the 6th inning in a 7-1 game.
Frustrated. She's having trouble with her defensive player. Look at this sweet pass behind the back for 2 on the assist.
And that one is hit on a rope to center field. Watch that one. And it is, oh, what a great diving catch by the center field.
And in that game, it was basically a running back by committee. I mean, you had a lot of guys carrying the football. Is that the protocol for the upcoming season for the backfield of Jackson State?
It's a really nice pitch to get the ground ball double play. Second one.
6-5 is your final. East Georgia advances to the championship game.
Top of the 6th gets underway. It is the top of the order coming to the plate to begin things. Brady Richardson. And a new guy on the hill, Sam Novak, is the new pitcher. Keaton Schroer worked an inning and faced a total of 9. And in that inning had no strikeouts. Handed out a single walk, gave up 4 hits and 5 runs. And is replaced by Sam Novak. Richardson, Afora, and McCorkle in the top of the 6th.
While we were on our break, I went to your Googleology, as they say, to find out about the stadium there in Shelby, North Carolina. It's called Keeter Stadium, and it has a capacity of 6,132. Wow. So it is almost just maybe 2.5 times the size of Bates Riddle here, and it is quite a facility.
Now, is it a facility typically just for high school, or
it is? The only tournament that comes to town is the American Legion World Series, and I think some junior colleges play, and some smaller colleges play at that stadium as well. They'll host some tournaments throughout the baseball season, but it's also on the campus of the high school there in Shelby, North Carolina.
Tomorrow, Afora coming to the plate. Hayes McCorkle to the on-deck circle. I think Hickory is near, what is that college?
Appalachian State.
Well, there's a Lanier, something Lanier.
Oh, yes.
Rhine Lanier or Lanier Rhine or something.
Lenore Rhine.
Lenore Rhine.
Lenore Rhine.
As a matter of fact, we had a fella, Dallas Renzi, who did some work with us, is now the play-by-play guy up there, and it seems like it's in Hickory. if I'm remembering correctly.
It is, and Shelby is just south of Hickory.
Strike delivered to Ofora. He's McCorkle. He moves to the on-deck circle. Troy post 7. He came to life in the 5th inning, scoring a total of 5 runs off 4 hits. Back safely over at first is Richardson.
And back to your question on how these players or how these programs are funded.
That is hit pretty well towards center field, and on the run, able to catch up with it is Skylar Jean, forcing Richardson to scamper back to first.
There are several posts across the state within that Alabama Department of American Legion that help fund a majority of the costs, the uniforms, registration fees, insurance, things like that. There are some that do fundraisers, and then the other option is you have each of the players fund it themselves, the parents or then they fund it themselves.
Off and running Richardson, he'll get in with a stolen base at second.
But as I mentioned before, the costs for American Legion baseball is so much less than the travel ball programs that are around our state, and so it's a great product. They get great playing time, good competition, as you can see in some of the 4 games here, and it's just deep rooted of 100 years worth of great baseball. And and yesteryear it was everybody played Legion ball in the summer. It was the all-star group of the community that played, and it was nothing less of just spectacular. And we're working on getting more posts, more programs, and making Alabama one of our the premier states for American Legion baseball across this nation.
Well, really, when you think about it, it may have been kind of the starting point for a lot of the other leagues that are playing now, the Babe Ruths and the Dixie baseball and the Cal Ripkins or whatever, because they all came later.
Sure.
So the original child, so to speak, was American Legion.
And listening to some of the veterans and some of the old testimonies about American Legion baseball in its inception was that coming off the World War I in 1919, there were a lot of men that came back and just had issues. PTSD, they were maimed from injuries in that trench warfare, World War I. And so the American Legion was reaching out to these veterans, and they said, hey, we need to grab the boys, the children from these veterans, and give them a product and give them something to do in the summer. And what better way than the great American sport of baseball? Is nothing more than Americana in and of itself. And so that was the big emphasis when American Legion took over and formed their first league 100 years ago.
Popped up into foul territory, right side. It will drop, and McCorkle will come back to the plate.
And since then, the rest is history, and it has become an institution and an icon in our nation is American Legion baseball.
Now, has there ever been with American Legion a league, kind of like a semi-pro league for older, 25, 30 years old?
Not to my knowledge. Now, that doesn't mean it hasn't or they haven't tried. There was even an effort to try to bring in a softball league into American Legion and under American Legion, and that hasn't come to fruition, at least in our state or at a national level. And that was ball 4.
So a couple of base runners on. Both walked, Richardson and McCorkle. Jake Franklin coming to the plate. Ethan Walls moving to the on-deck circle. It just seems like, and, there again, I'm getting old, and seems like fade into some, blend in with some fictional things, but that I had an uncle in this would probably be the 60s, that played semi-pro ball, and it just seems like it was American Legion, but I certainly could be wrong.
Well, and years ago, in the 50s, 60s, you had semi-pro adult leagues that were throughout our society, which we don't see as many nowadays. And I know up in Birmingham they had those. They had the industrial leagues where the steel mills played against each other,
Yep.
and the cotton mills were in there, and there were several programs.
Jake Franklin with a base hit, Richardson in to score.
I think what they call them now is a wooden bat leagues, and you were to use a wooden bat, unlike the composite ones that we have in American Legion in high school and college.
Of course, there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't know about. As a matter of fact, we did a game in Chicago in, when was that? May, June? And it's the, apparently, all of these big fire and police departments in cities like New York, Chicago, San Diego, Charlotte, they have their own football teams.
Correct. Yeah,
and their own football league.
Yeah.
And they've got a championship game. So who knows what's out there. Ethan Walls with a couple of base runners on. He has walked, he has ground out, he has struck out, and he has got a base hit, drives that one towards the gap. McCorkle is in. Can Franklin get in two on his way to third? Walls, it is a triple that drives in two. And this post 70 may be bound and determined to make me out a liar when I said this one probably would not be a mercy rule.
I know. I think post 70 is giving Coach Bragg and his post 237 out of Huntsville everything they got now, and they're trying, and again they're trying to take down the former World Series, American Legion World Series champs, and it's tough. You better bring your game because they're ready to play.
Caden Boudwell next. He's walked twice and struck out once. Evan Taylor to the on-deck circle. The runner at third would push the lead to double digits in a 10-1 game. One out in the inning. Sam Novak getting his first inning of work in. In the bottom of the inning, Sanji Knight and Tatum. All due up for Huntsville. Evan Taylor to the on-deck circle. Ball game just about 2 hours old at $1.50. In addition to the 10 runs scored, Troy has left 10 on. Boudwell walked in the first, struck out in the third, walked in the fifth. Just a little bit outside to Boutwell. Evan Taylor to the on-deck circle.
And those of you listening that may have a player or know of a player that wants to play next year and our next season, I'd encourage you to go to allegionball.com. That's the Alabama Legion Ball, so it's allegionball.com. And sometime in the spring, preferably early spring, and start looking for a team to play for. And we are encouraging participation because we want to grow our league and grab good talent that keeps playing.
Well, I certainly think the fact that ESPN has picked up the championship is going to shine a big, bright spotlight on the league. That's already, it's renowned. And then maybe it got a little quiet for a little time period, but I think it really has blossomed again.
It has, and I'll tell you, in the state of Alabama, post-70s success in recent years has been great for the state of Alabama, and it's also placed a standard, a high standard that these other teams are striving for. Like post 237 is really before the game, Coach Bragg was really wanting to come after him and give him everything he's got, and he did. He did for several innings.
Yep.
And just had that fifth inning that kind of got away from him, and it looks like the 6th inning is following suit.
10-run lead, counting it at 1. And now Huntsville is forced to at least get a run in the bottom of the 6th to force a 7th. Inside to Evan Taylor. And still only a single out in the inning with a runner in scoring position at second. Taylor is 1 for 3 in the game. But that one was pretty big. It was a triple back in the 5th. To the screen, foul by Taylor. Wells Gainey to the on-deck circle.
This is one of those situations where we talk about every inning is like a game in and of itself, and getting into this 5th and 6th inning is you have to perform every out, and no errors, and execute on defense, and it looks like that the post 237 is. It really needs to get some outs here and to stay alive and move forward.
And now that must get in the bottom part of the inning goes to 2. As the lead goes to 11 on the Evan Taylor RBI single. Wells Gainey to the plate with a base runner aboard. Now, if I'm understanding the way the brackets are drawn up, the winner of this one is able to get over at first is Taylor. Winner of this one actually plays in Charles Henderson tomorrow.
That would be correct. And that time is to be determined. We do have here at Pace Riddle Field, and that was a out there on second base.
Taylor caught stealing?
Yeah, he did. That catcher put it right on the money and timely. But tomorrow's 2 o'clock start we would rather have started in the morning to try to get things going, but here at Troy University, they are having their summer commencement ceremony, and so the university has asked that we don't begin our games until 2 o'clock. And to allow the influx of traffic on campus that will be attending and watching those graduates that are for here at Troy University. So we won't begin until 2 because they have a morning commencement ceremony.
In a little smaller window, there's a 3-hour window today. Tomorrow it's 2.5, I think, for the games. But, I mean, they'll go 7 no matter what. But scheduling-wise, they're scheduled every 2.5 hours. Versus today every 3.
And again, we got to take into consideration the possibility of our South Alabama wiregrass rain showers that come flowing in at any moment, at any time, and not knowing, and they could be sunshiny, and then within 10 minutes we're in a rain delay, and these rain delays take a little longer than we would like, but especially when they're laced with lightning, and so we have to keep players and coaches off the playing surface for safety reasons.
Wells Gainey, a walk, a single, and a strikeout. An RBI and a run for Wells Gainey. And actually, it looks like we've got a pinch hitter for Gainey. And if that is, well, I was going to say 18, but maybe it is 10. It's difficult to pick up those numbers. Or maybe 12. Well, if it's 12, it's Jake Franklin.
And that's who's on first.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is number 10, which is Porter Dykes. Coming to the plate.
Well, our public address announcer announced that this is Caden Wright.
Well, let me see those numbers again. That's a 1-0, isn't it?
It is. Maybe he was wrong. It is.
And
it is Peter Dykes.
Yep.
Boy, I love these uniforms. All these players have are great, but those numbers are not conducive for those up.
Little older.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
little aged eyes.
And we don't have these. We don't have the spotters they have in some of the more professional situations.
That's right.
To spot them and tell you who it is.
Who would be speaking it in your ear?
That's exactly right. And we got a post 237 pitching coach coming out to talk to his pitcher and see if he can get him refocused.
Got a couple of outs, got a couple of base runners on. With 2 gone here in the 6th inning. And I believe that is Caden Boutonwell coming to the plate, which would mean there's a really good possibility my scorebook has gotten totally discombobulated. No idea how, because I'm assuming because we go by MLB rules, so it's not like travel ball when you insert a player or add a player. So if you do that, you would notify the press box.
Yeah, they
Correct?
just have to notify the chief umpire
Right.
at the plate and of that change, and they just walk out and tell them. So I think that's what the pitching coach is addressing the umpire, and Ross Hickson is there trying to clarify the substitutions he's made. I would assume that's what they're talking about. Not as just as we are getting confused, I think their scorekeeper and their coaches for post 237 is confused as well. But under the rules here in American Legion, you just have to let the home plate umpire know of the substitution or change in the lineup.
Well, unless there are 2-12s. Now, are there can an American Legion player on the same team have the same number as another player, or do they have to have?
They have to have an independent number.
Okay. So that is Franklin, who is at second. And the pitch is outside to Caden Boutonwell. In a 12-1 game. With 2 going. Porter Dykes, your base runner at first. And it is Caden Boutwell hitting. I've just picked up where the goof came. Right here. So instead of starting here, I started here.
Operator error.
Yeah. You know, it kind of reminds me of, as you got a strike by Boutwell, it reminds me of a friend who told me that when there's blame placed on a computer, that they always said picnic. Problem in chair, not in computer. So you got a walk given to Boutwell. So, yeah, it's been all discombobulated. So, in fact, Boutwell, who began the inning, began it with a walk and now has walked again. And you got a couple of base runners on. So let's see if I could sort that all out for our viewers. That would mean Boutwell walked I'll make that Taylor flew out. Gainey walked. Jones singled. As that is lifted to center field, and there the catch will be made by Skyler G.
For that third out of the inning. All right, now they can take a deep breath, but they have got to get their bats hot. That is post 237 from Huntsville has to come out, swinging that bat and getting some runs in to keep this game going past the 6th inning and making it to the 7th.
Actually got to have at least 2 runs.
2 runs.
At least that to get us to the 7th.
Just about all White Jones County. Diving catch at shortstop. Gross. Towards the gap. Diving catch in center field by Ben Aklinski. There is a shot towards deep short. Kraft's got it. Long throw over, and he got it. We head to the bottom of the sixth. Hey, let me sort out the top of the sixth for you, since I got discombobulated in my scorebook. It was Bowell with a walk, Taylor with a fly out in the center. Gainey walked, Jones singled. Richardson was the guy with the triple. Then you had Afora and McCorkle with singles. And Franklin strikes out. Walls did the same. And I think that is how we ended the top of the sixth. Then head to the bottom of the seventh. And you got a new pitcher in is Easton Walsh. There's that Florida boy. And he'll strike out Sanji to begin the sixth.
It's going to require them getting on base and getting 2 runs to keep us from ending this game off of the mercy rule and going into the 7th inning. So post 237, Huntsville needs to get on base.
Several times,
absolutely.
And get a pinch hitter coming to the plate. This is Miles. If he's from Louisiana, it's Gauthier. And if he is from South Alabama, it's Gauther. But Miles coming to the plate. Had a friend from Alabama that went to Mississippi looking for Gaucher and claims that they passed the exit multiple times because they didn't see Gaucher, they said Gautier.
Exactly.
So I don't know if this is Gauthier, or Gaucher, but he's at the plate with one away. And a swing and a miss. Out goes Miles.
And that is 2 outs. They are 1 out away from advancing to a winner's bracket. That's Troy post 70. And Huntsville post 237 to stay alive is going to have to get on base. Several, as we mentioned. I really thought this was going to end up at a closer game, but they just post 237 Huntsville just ran out of gas here in that 5th inning, and then the 6th didn't treat them as well either.
Didn't think it would be a less than 7-inning game. Cole Clenard crowding it to first, and that's your ball game.
And that is it for today's games here at Pace Riddle Field on the campus of Troy University. Robert, I want to thank you for allowing me to participate today and join you, and I hope to come back later in the weekend. I know you might not be here to call those games, but we'd like to appreciate JockJive.com for hosting these games, and like everyone to stay safe and remember this is our 100th year anniversary of American Legion Baseball, and thank a veteran and thank an American Legionnaire for their participation and allowing these boys to play baseball, that great American game, and that we've done it for 100 years, and we'd love to keep going another 100. So thank you again.
Hey, thank you, Patrick Kennedy, Commissioner with the American Legion Baseball. Robert Williamson saying so long and have a great rest of your Thursday night.